Delegates, please prepare to welcome our NEA President, Becky Pringle.
We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. Born in 1903 in Virginia, Ella Baker grew up in North Carolina, hearing stories from her grandmother, Josephine Ross, about what it was like to be enslaved. Armed with her grandmother's stories of bravery and courage and resistance, Ella used her life to fight for racial and social justice, rising through the ranks of the NAACP and helping Dr. King create the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. In 1960, when college students from North Carolina A&T, when they were denied service at a Greensboro Woolworths lunch counter, Ella seized an opportunity to create space for, train, and center young activists, leading to the founding of SNCC, the Student Non-Violating Coordinating Committee, a group of college students, including a young John Lewis, who, as you know, protested segregation throughout the South. My cousin, Roberta, was one of those youth activists too. She, like John and Ella, believed that the fight for freedom can never stop. Roberta also taught me that when you grow weary or overwhelmed by the responsibility to fight for justice, Becky Sue, she would say, always remember our ancestors surround us like cushions, ones we can lean back on when we need to call on that power. NEA, we gather today almost 7,000 educators strong, the highest governing body of the National Education Association, the largest democratic deliberative delegation in the world. Holding the legacy of leaders who came before us, building on what they've done, we, the NEA, are taking up the mantle to fight for freedom every day, all day. And although we can fall back on that cushion if we must, our collective fight for freedom and for democracy and for education, that NEA must be unrelenting. With 3 million members strong, in households all across this nation, it is our duty to lead in the magnificent and complex constellation that is public education. In the coming days, we will learn as we lean into what's possible. We will deliberate as we make the decisions that will guide our work ahead. We will leave this space inspired by new ideas and insights, diverse experiences, and newfound expertise. NEA, our struggle for freedom will never rest. We have come here to Florida, our nation's ground zero for shameful, racist, homophobic, misogynistic, xenophobic rhetoric and dangerous actions. We have come here because our children are here. We have come here because our colleagues are here. We have come to Florida because educators and students and their communities are being attacked by laws that threaten their safety and question their humanity, that block their access to every basic right that defines the word freedom. We stand ready to lift up and protect our colleagues and their students. And right here in Florida, we will preserve and strengthen a democracy that was steeped in the power of the Constitution of the United States of America. It is we, the people, NEA, we the people, all of us deserve the right to be truly free. Right here, we will get that done. In this moment, in this state, where the LGBTQ plus community, especially those who are transgender, face relentless attacks, we will fight for the right of every student and every educator to stand completely in their authenticity of who they know themselves to be. In this moment, when voting rights hang in the balance, when reproductive rights are at risk, we are required to fight for fair and free elections and a woman's right to make decisions about her own body. NEA, in this moment, with the residue of the pandemic still lingering, with our psyches still fragile, we must make sense of all that we have lost and all that we have learned. In this moment, when your professional responsibility and your academic freedom to teach the truth of this nation's history and its impact to this day can actually cost you your license or your job or your life. I will always remember the tearful yet defiant Florida educator who express the concerns of far too many, telling me I can't teach like this. I refuse to. NEA, in this moment, when an extremist, out-of-touch Supreme Court slammed shut the doors of affirmative action, refused to acknowledge the way student loan debt puts higher education out of reach for so many students, and keeps millions of Americans from experiencing financial freedom in their lifetimes. During a 24-hour period, this radical court struck yet another blow against our LGBTQ+ community with a decision for the first time ever that actually licenses discrimination under the First Amendment against a protected class. NEA, it is in this moment that we cannot rest. We cannot rest, NEA. Because as educators, we know that Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson told the truth. She told the truth when she wrote her dissenting opinion. Every moment these gaps persist is a moment where this great country falls short of actualizing one of its foundational principles. The self-evident truth that all of us are created equal. Justice Sonia Sotomayor told the truth when she wrote, despite the court's unjustified exercise of power, the opinion today will serve only to highlight the court's own impotence. The court's impotence in the face of an America whose cries for equality resound. Both ended their blistering rebukes with these defiant words: I dissent. NEA, we all dissent. We all dissent. We all dissent. So this is that moment that requires us to remind the nation that compounded inequities continue to affect far too many of our students and educators, far too many of our families and communities, because inequity is based into every single social system in this country. We must call out every politician and every pundit who refuses to address gun violence. Who seek to erase the beautiful beautiful stories of indigenous people, of our Latino and API communities who refuse to acknowledge the right of our trans students to live their true identities. We must raise our voices right now and say no. 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 You will not arm teachers. No. You will not shrink our students' curriculums. No. You will not leave them unprepared to lead a just society. No. In this unthinkable moment, make no mistake, these are not culture wars raging across this country. These are wars on our freedoms. On our freedoms. At their very core, these wars are an assault on our rights as humans, on our right to have and participate in a civil society, on our right to learn and to live and to be. But what I know to be true is that in places all over this country, NEA, you are fearlessly demanding your rights as citizens of this nation, of this world. You are courageously embracing your responsibility as education professionals, standing up for education, democracy, and freedom. With pride and persistence, you embrace the magnitude of what you've been called to do. Deliberate and unafraid, you will continue to demand that every student is seen and supported, that every educator is respected as the professionals they are, unbowed and unbroken. You will resolve that you will lead the work to protect and promote and strengthen public education. Since becoming your NEA president, I have visited you in your schools, and I've got the chance to meet your brilliant and beautiful students. I've seen for myself all of the ways you are using your role as professionals and your strength as a union to transform the promise of this nation into the practice of this nation. In Minnesota, there you are. The hard work of educators led to the control of the Minnesota House and Senate and the governor's office. Today, our Minnesota colleagues are using that power to hold their leaders accountable, to deliver for Minnesota students and educators and families, to win common good contracts that will make historic improvements for students and for our professions. Educators in Colorado and New Mexico, they have strengthened their gun laws to help create safe spaces for our students to learn and to live. Massachusetts, yeah, they won a huge tax fairness victory that will have the wealthy paying their fair share. In Illinois, IEA members, They use their considerable might to keep voucher funding out of the state budgets so they can keep their public schools strong. In Mississippi, there you are. Thousands of educators raised their voices and the state's legislature approved an historic increase of $100 million to fund their schools. In Vermont, educators want there you are, a permanent universal meals offer for all students, and they are addressing the educator shortage through a coaching and mentoring and training program to help with certification. California, your hard work to get community schools actually funded in your state budget paved the way for huge wins in Los Angeles and Oakland, getting community schools actually in their contracts. And Michigan, all the things, proving that elections matter. They won back rights for their union. Yes. And it didn't stop with that. They put a focus on the retired members and rolled back state taxes on pension income. Woo! Go ahead with your bad selves. And of course, I could not be more proud of the aspiring educators in my own home state of Pennsylvania. Their hard work convinced a bipartisan group of lawmakers to introduce legislation that creates a stipend for student teachers. And our students, wow, our students are organizing and speaking up for themselves. With the support of the Maryland State Education Association, students in the Minority Scholars Program are using their own voices to demand access to the tools they need for an equitable education. Yes. In states nationwide, our students are marching to end gun violence. Our students are returning banned books to their libraries. Our students are calling on the adults in positions of power to make decisions that will center their humanity and invest in their futures. NEA, let us find inspiration as we deliberate and discuss the work we will do together. Let us find pride in our successes and lessons in our losses. Let us share our hopes and our dreams and our biggest ideas. Most of all, let us give to each other gratitude and respect and compassion. For you see, that is what nurtures the hope that will fuel our resistance. NEA, I need you to fully embrace this reality. We, right now, we are the ancestors of future generations. So we must and we will leave this state and this representative assembly ready to take the kind of bold and tenacious and continuous and fearless action that we must. We must and we will reach up and realign the stars in a way that will serve our students and support educators and invest in our communities. We must and we will consistently improve our professional rights and strengthen our practices in a way that centers education justice. We will set our gaze on the North Star of our shared vision. That we will unite not just our members, but this entire nation to reclaim public education as a common good, as the foundation of this country, and then we will transform it into something it was never designed to be, a racially and socially just and equitable system that prepares every student, everyone to succeed in a diverse and interdependent world. Only in the darkness can you see the stars. Dr. King's words describe the reality of our world. Through the darkness, I see you, NEA. I see you turning your capacity for resilience into impenetrable resistance. Your collective might and your palpable power, you alchemize to challenge ourselves to change. You transform obstacles into opportunity. You transform and shape hardship into hope. As I see you, I can hear Chief Seattle crying out to us, urging us to remember, when you know who you are, when your mission is clear, and you burn with the inner fire of an unbreakable will, no cold can touch your heart. No deluge can dampen your purpose. NEA, you are those stars in the darkness. Your light will not be dimmed. Your purpose will drive you in a righteous fight for freedom because you know who you are.
That's right. Yes.
You know who you are. You are the NEA. Our mission is clear. We will advocate for the rights of education professionals, and we will change this world for our students with that inner fire burning. We will never bend. We will never be broken because we are the NEA, and we will always do what we must to be worthy of our students. Thank you, NEA, for all you do every day for our babies and for our colleagues and for your states and for this country. Onward, NEA!